It is nothing new. Donald Trump will stay up all night and tweet. But this time, looks like he did something else. He did not only tweet, but he did something else. And that something else we'll be discussing in this video. But before I do that, like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, leave a comment, and watch till the end. Very, very important. Take a listen.
Donald Trump was having a meltdown late last night. He called an emergency meeting on Capitol Hill at the Capitol Hill Club with his cabinet and other top officials and former campaign aides. They're looking at the midterms now, which is fast approaching, and they are expecting a complete wipeout in the midterms, that they expect the Democrats to destroy him in the House and the Senate, ripping away any shred of power that Donald Trump has left. They were looking at the latest Reuters Ipsos poll, which shows Donald Trump's...
he needs to be wiped out completely. And that's what is making him staying up all night, because the moment he gets this election out of his control, the midterm election I'm talking about, then he will face impeachment, and that would definitely mean going to jail.
Disapproval hitting 60%. Trump's approval on immigration being a net negative 17%. That's an all-time low. Donald Trump's approval on the economy, net negative 23%. And his approval falling fast among men. They can't stop the bleeding. They don't know what to do. Trump had his pollsters there, Fabrizio, saying you are screwed right now, and they are trying to figure this out. So what does Donald Trump do? He goes to his old toolkit and he starts posting QAnon memes late last night. That's right, around midnight. This is what Donald Trump posted from this emergency meeting. This is the lesson that Donald Trump learned. It is a photo.
Well, obviously, the other thing that we are all afraid of is that he will start a war. We already know that he has his warships in the Arabian Sea waiting to strike Iran. And to me, it looks like he will just choose the timing of it. But he's ready. He's ready. The moment he will realize, well, you know what? I'm screwed, which he's already, but the moment he will see more and more people are coming out in the street and protesting and demanding his removal from his office, I think that will be the time when he will start this World War III. Because remember, this pedo will do anything to hold on to power, even if that means World War III, nuclear war, and we all are dead. Doesn't matter. He doesn't care, as long as he is not going to the jail or getting impeached.
Of himself like this, looking ominously in this meme, and he goes, I will be the one to shut it down. And then the post says, people that doubted will soon see. Great clip, friend. I will be the one to shut it down. Well, we are in a partial government shutdown. We previously were in the longest government shutdown in history. You are the one to shut it down. And also, if you mean shutting down the American economy, shutting down America's power, shutting down America's dignity, well done, Donald. You succeeded. And this is what you're posting at like midnight right now after your emergency meeting. Also, Donald Trump posted this late last night as well. He goes, crooked elections cannot be allowed in the USA. President DJT. So the lesson, as his pollsters, Fabrizio and others are telling him, you are screwed, is he's just going to call the elections crooked. Same old playbook by Donald Trump, the leader of the Epstein class.
The election was rigged. They stole the election, and he will definitely call some of the voters, the officials there, hey, can you add some vote? I mean, this is who he is. Okay, guys, he will always find a boogeyman to blame other people, not take any responsibility. But guess what? This time, he's not going to survive it. He's going to be gone. He's going to be gone for sure.
Leader of the cabal while he covers up a child sex trafficking ring. Here's what we don't forget about that. We're going to cover it every single damn episode. By the way, make sure you hit subscribe. Help us get to 6 million subscribers. We're basically 30,000 subscribers away from hitting that. So help us get to 6 million subscribers. Donald Trump also posts Dan Bongino had John Sullivan on his show today, and Solomon made an interesting prediction that Trump will soon unveil evidence that foreign powers meddled in the 2020 election, which will result in John Thune ultimately caving on the filibuster and the Save America Act will get passed. These are Donald Trump's delusions of delusions because he is a desperate and pathetic individual. I wonder, Donald, is part of your plan to have Maduro in exchange for a deal, say that Venezuela was involved with secret Italian CIA satellites in China in order to overthrow the 2020 election because you can't handle the fact that you lost by millions of votes to former President Joe Biden. And here we are in 2026 as Americans are psychologically tortured, living paycheck to paycheck. If they're lucky enough to have a paycheck, they're getting their health care ripped away from them. You're covering up the Epstein files, covering up a child sex trafficking ring. We're in a jobs recession. Manufacturing is crashing. The rich are getting richer. Everybody else is getting absolutely screwed. And you're talking about the 2020 elections. Grow the hell up. Seriously.
No, he's not going to grow up. He's never going to grow up because this is who he is. He was always going to talk about 2020 election. Then he'll talk about, crooked Hillary. He'll talk about Bill Clinton. Oh, they're bad. And then he will always try to distract the people from the priorities, from the right priorities. And this is why CNN poll shows recently that majority of the Americans, they believe, a 70 to 80% overwhelming majority, they believe that Trump is not focused on the right priorities. And I mentioned this in my previous videos. And still, he's not learning. After seeing all these polls, after seeing how things are going to waste, everything that he is trying to accomplish, he is still not learning.
Stop freaking whining. So that was Donald Trump's result of the emergency meeting that he held. You also have people right now going back to like Steve Bannon's text messages with Epstein, where they were saying back in 2019 and 2018 that the 25th Amendment needed to be invoked against Donald Trump back then. That's right, Donald. You had Bannon and Epstein and others part of the Epstein class talking about you behind your back then, saying the 25th Amendment needed to be invoked. You have Marjorie Taylor Greene posting the thread. Steve Bannon went to jail for Trump. I was there, but back on January 1st, 2019, he was texting with Epstein about the 25th Amendment and Donald Trump needing to have the 25th Amendment invoked against him. You even have Mike Flynn, one of the biggest MAGA sycophants, saying the White House, or at least the DOJ, needs to come out and say what they plan on doing with this information. I remember all of the 25th Amendment talk back in the first term. It was really ugly. And if Bannon and Epstein were behind it, Bannon needs to be brought in for questioning. It was Trump's inner circle who was saying that the 25th Amendment needed to be invoked against Donald Trump then. But speaking about the Epstein files, I just set the scene for you. You've got Donald Trump calling emergency meeting at the Capitol Club. He's got all of his cabinet.
Okay, so before we broadcast the rest of the video from Midas Touch, just want to say one thing here. Steve Bannon, he recently said, if we lose the midterm, then we are going to jail. It is not something that people around Donald Trump, they're thinking. It is also Donald Trump himself. He knows he will go to jail.
People, his pollsters there. Donald Trump leaves the meeting. He leaves, gets all the data, and starts posting QAnon memes about himself. And then he by the way, after learning about the Reuters Ipsos poll, where his approval or his disapproval is 60%, Donald Trump then gets the following report as well. Millions of files related to Jeffrey Epstein suggest the existence of a global criminal enterprise that carried out acts meeting the legal threshold of crimes against humanity, a panel of independent experts appointed by the UN Human Rights Council has said. And so the United Nations Human Rights Council appointed a panel of experts, and the experts say that the crimes that they've reviewed thus far, that we've all reviewed, that we've talked about here on the Midas Touch Network, in the Epstein files, and only a small fraction of the files have actually been released. About 2 to 5% have been released. There's about 50 terabytes that are still being hidden. And that's where the worst stuff is. I want you to think about it. They're still hiding the worst stuff. So what we've seen, the redacted stuff, is not even close to the worst stuff. I just want you to remember that.
And we already have the worst. Like what else is out there to see for us? I mean, we have known through this release of files, they used to eat people. They ate babies, actually. They practiced those satanic rituals. And so I don't know what else is out there for us to see. But I mean, if the worst, they're still not being uncovered or brought to the public, I do not know what we will see. It's going to be horrifying.
The expert said the crimes outlined in the documents released by the Justice Department were committed against a background of supremacist beliefs, racism, corruption, and extreme misogyny. The crimes, they said, showed a commodification and a dehumanization of girls and women. So grave is the scale, nature, systemic character, and transnational reach of these atrocities against women and girls that a number of them may reasonably meet the legal threshold of crimes against humanity, the experts for the United Nations says. These experts said the allegations require an independent, thorough, and impartial investigation, and said inquiry should also be launched into how it was possible for such crimes to be committed for so long. We know that there's at least over 12.
Again, this is not an issue just with the United States. this whole thing, this whole Epstein thing, is now an international issue. Okay, so it's a good thing that the entire world is focused on this, because if we cannot stop it in the States, then tomorrow there will be Epstein in every country, and no country wants to do that. So it is only logical that this country under United Nations will focus on this particular issue in order to get to the bottom of it and find out how to stop this pedo ring. Subscribe for more videos.